A human offered his only water to a dying alien. At dawn, her people returned in silence. The dunes moved like living things under a sky of hammered silver. Arden had been walking since noon with the last slosh of water in his canteen, counting out the steps to the outpost. He'd planned every sip, every shade break and stride across the windward faces of the sand. Plans don't matter, his brother used to say. Mercy changes the math. Arden had learned the hard way to stop listening to ghosts, until he saw the figure half buried at the base of a fluted dune, one pale hand jutting up like driftwood. The alien was small by human measure, wrapped in a tattered veil that glittered with grains of glass sand. Luminous threads pulsed faintly along her temples, dim as exhausted fireflies. Her lips were cracked. When he touched her shoulder, she flinched with a dry whispering sound he realized was her breath. "Hey," he said softly. "Stay with me." Her eyes clicked open. They were a shade of winter green, wincing at the light. She hissed a word, 3 notes that rose and fell like a tiny scale, then shut her mouth, jaw trembling. Arden hesitated only long enough to think about the outpost generator and the mineral rights survey sealed in his pack, about his brother's slicing laughter when he'd volunteered as a guide for the miners. Then he unscrewed the canteen. "Don't fight it," he murmured. "Slow." He poured his only water into her cupped hands. She brought it to her mouth as if it might shatter. The first swallow was a miracle, the second a prayer. Some of the light returned to her filaments. She blinked at him, then reached for his wrist and traced a circle on his skin, a sign that meant nothing to him but clearly meant something to her. The wind shifted. A wall of pale grit advanced across the flats, stormline, fast and mean. Arden shouldered her weight. She weighed almost nothing. The bones beneath her skin were reeds. They staggered toward the black slice of canyon where the storm might blow over them. Twice she stumbled. The second time she dragged him down too, and he tasted grit and old metal. He almost left her then. He didn't. The canyon bent like an elbow. In the crook was a rusted survey cart, half collapsed, but its canopy remained. He dragged the alien beneath, lowered the tarp, and built a seal of rocks. The storm bellowed. Sand pattered like rain. He tore a ration square and tried to shape it into something she could manage. She refused the food with a small shake of the head and slid 2 fingers under her veil, pulling free a bead no larger than a seed. It glimmered, exuding a cool damp scent like dew. She pressed it to his lips. The taste was mineral sweet. "Trade," Arden whispered. "All right." While the world roared, she lay with her eyes half open, watching him as if memorizing the lines of his face. He talked because the noise made silence unbearable. He told her his name. He told her he'd been a child when the wells ran dry around New Corinth and had watched men fight over buckets like wolves. He told her he'd signed on because he needed the credits and because he thought he could keep the miners honest. He did not say why that plan had ended with his brother's shadow in every doorway. The alien listened, tracing circles on the tarp with a finger, 3 circles, then 3 more. When the storm passed, dawn wasn't far behind. The sky softened toward lavender. The dunes were clean, freshly combed. The alien sat painfully. She pointed to the ridge line and then to her chest. He understood people. "Will they be looking for you?" he asked. She made the 3-note sound again and nodded. Then she touched his chest, tap, 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 and drew a line from his heart to the ridge. "Go ahead," he said. "I'll." A shadow cut the ridge, followed by another. 7 figures descended without leaving tracks, their veils whispering. They moved in coordinated silence, their feet making a rhythm that felt like the memory of rain. Arden tensed. He raised his palms. The alien. His alien, he thought absurdly, stood on shaking legs and lifted her hands the same way. They gathered around her, a circle of mirrored eyes and glimmering temple threads. None spoke. One of them, taller, veils edged with tiny bells that didn't ring, touched the cracked canteen at Arden's hip and tilted it. Me. The tall one looked at the rescued alien. She made a sign with her fingers, 3 circles and a line, the same she had drawn on the tarp. A hand extended toward Arden, not to take but to give. In it, a vessel of tightly woven desert fiber beaded with condensed dew. The water inside sang against the lip when he tilted it, a note he felt in his teeth. He took one mouthful and offered it back. The tall one refused. The vessel was his. They turned without a word, preparing to leave. Then the air trembled with a different sound, an engine's cough and a squawk of unshielded radio. Arden's throat tightened. He knew that voice. Minor Scout. He could picture the pilot's grin and the little gold sun pinned to his collar. If the team found this canyon, they'd follow, and after them would come drones and claim stakes and armed escorts. He could keep quiet and let the aliens vanish into their ghost paths. He could, but the engine's cough spiked his blood with dread. He remembered a pair of hands shaking in a dust-choked tent, remembered how his brother's breath hitched when the company men came and asked about the map where the springs might be. "Wait," Arden said. The aliens froze. He dragged the old survey cart clear of the rock seal and shoved it into the open. He dug in the sand with his boot, exposing a square of reflective panel, the kind that would throw a signal to the sky. He angled it toward the wrong canyon mouth and propped it with his pack. The engine's cough grew louder, then banked. A flitter swept overhead, lasers of morning glancing off the panel. The craft veered toward the decoy canyon, skimming like a vulture. Arden held still until the sound died. He turned back. 6 aliens had already gone, ghosts dissolving into the brightening dunes. Only the small one, the one he had given water, remained. She stepped close, veil fluttering. Her luminous threads brightened. She raised a hand to his face and with her fingertips, traced the 3 circles and the line from his heart again. Then, defying the ritual that had kept them wordless, she parted her lips. "Drink," she said in a voice like sand meeting tide. The single word filled the canyon, echoed off the rock, rattled every memory in him. Behind her, the tall one paused, head cocked at the boundary she had crossed. No rebuke came. The small alien placed the dew vessel against Arden's chest, pressing it firmly, as if planting a seed inside him. He turned to go. When she reached the ridge, she looked back once. With both hands she signed 3 circles, then drew the line from her heart to his and out, along the horizon. Path. Promise. Arden stood alone in the newborn light, the vessel cool against his palms, the tarp still whispering with the last breath of the storm. The miners would search until the sun boiled the sky, and perhaps they would find the decoy canyon and argue over nothing. Plans didn't matter. Mercy had changed the math. He raised the vessel and drank. It tasted like the first rain he couldn't remember ever seeing, like something old and green learning to be new. He tilted his head back and laughed, a sound the canyon kept for a long time. When he was done, he sealed the vessel, slung the empty canteen as a reminder of the currency he once believed in, and started walking, not toward the outpost and its small hard bargains, but toward the line she had drawn and the word she had given him.